What's the scariest thing out there? Is it death? Taxes? Your baby mama? Well, it turns out that the number one fear in the world is none of those things. It's public speaking. But why is it so scary? Let me tell you how to make it a little bit easier as I give you these 5 steps in case you need to go and stand up in front of a group of strangers and deliver a talk. So, step number 1 to make it a little bit easier and to beat the number 1 fear. Practice. So there was an orator in ancient Greece called Demosthenes. Guy had a stutter, was a tedious speaker, extremely nervous. This guy would practice by running up and down hills with a mouthful of pebbles and reciting and practicing his speeches. Now, I'm not saying don't go to that extent if you're a nervous public speaker, but it does go to show that practice does make perfect. Demosthenes was vindicated, and he is now widely celebrated as one of the greatest orators, not just in ancient Athens, but of all time. So practice, practice, practice. Practice in front of the mirror, practice in front of your family, practice in front of your friends, practice by talking out loud. Whoever you need to, record a video if you have to, but number 1 rule, practice your speech, always. Number 2, know your voice and own it. Now, there's nothing worse than a tedious speaker. Somebody who talks in a monotone. I'm sure we've all seen the clip from Ferris Bueller's Day Off with the teacher who's taking attendance. Bueller, anyway, here's how we're going to teach math or history today. It's just terrible. It's boring. Nobody wants to listen to it. So a great strength of improving and a great way to improve your public speaking skills and to make it less scary is just try not to be as tedious. Know your voice. We all have a unique voice, and I know we all hate listening to our voice once it's been recorded, but you have to own it. It's your own. It's also, you have to play to your strengths and not be robotic. And being confident in your delivery is going to pay off dividends. Trust me when I tell you this. A good tip to start off with, going on this topic of knowing your voice and owning it, especially if you're uncomfortable speaking in front of crowds, is to speak about a topic that you really enjoy. Imagine yourself in an intimate setting, or practice in an intimate setting. Let's say if you're really passionate about cooking, for example. Start speaking about cooking and listen to yourself and know your own voice. Once you've practiced a little bit that way, your passion shines through for that topic, and you can use that in order to apply it to other subjects as well. So number 2, know your voice and own it. Number 3, your body language. This is going to be a little bit tougher to master. I would honestly recommend filming yourself giving a speech or practicing in front of your friends and watch it back just to see how you carry yourself. Notice your hand expressions. Notice if you have any visible tics. Notice how you keep your eye contact and so on and so forth. How often you spend looking at your notes. These are all ways that you can improve your public speaking performance, because ultimately the audience isn't just listening to your talk, they're also looking at how you deliver it. So if you're using big, grand expressions and you're all over the place and you're trying to deliver a serious talk, it might not be the best way to convey your point. So in that case, what you might want to do is to try to keep your hand movements within a nice small rectangle or square. Conversely, if you're just sitting here speaking and not really moving a whole lot, maybe try to incorporate a hand movement there and every now and again, I would say. Obviously, if you want to read the Crinomia, which is a book that goes into great detail about which specific hand movements to use, go for it, but it was written in the 1800s. I don't necessarily recommend it. But again, if you're standing up and you're speaking in front of an audience and you have a podium, some people like to pace, and that's okay. But also there's nothing wrong with sticking to the podium. Keep both of your hands on one side, and especially if you fidget a lot, try to make sure that you don't have a pen. But also at the same time, try not to fidget with your papers and stuff like that. And honestly, that will help out a lot. Conveying a confident air is extremely important, because when you convey that confident air, people do tend to get the impression that, okay, yes, this person knows what they're talking about, they're engaging. Even let's say if they don't know what they're talking about, I'm at least a little bit more compelled to listen. Number 4, another important spot, is pacing yourself. Remember to breathe and remember to use your pauses effectively. If you rush your speech, people are not going to catch any of it, and they might think, okay, well, this person is clearly nervous, so why would I bother listening to them whatsoever? They just want to get it over with. At the same time, if you are too much of a tedious speaker and your pauses are too long, then you might, the audience will also lose interest as well. So you have to know what works within your voice and within your flow. You can't go too slow, because otherwise people will clock out and get bored. You also can't go too fast, otherwise people won't be able to understand what you're saying, and you will give off an air of nervousness. Number 5, perhaps the most important part, have fun with it. It's never easy to confront a group of strangers that you don't know about and give a talk, even if it's something that you're really passionate about and you're really interested in. But there is no greater reward than conquering that number 1 fear. Read the room. If you're of a more comedic ilk, crack a joke or two, get the audience laughing, and the most important thing to remember as well, the audience is nervous too. You may think that you're nervous on the stage. The audience is nervous too. They're waiting to see what you've got to say. They're hoping that this is going to live up to their expectations. Oh, is this topic going to be interesting, and so on and so forth. You're nervous, they're nervous. Be nervous together and have a good time. I would honestly say that as someone who enjoys speaking in front of people, as somebody who just enjoys to talk in general, hence the reason why I make these videos, I've always found it a little bit difficult to understand why public speaking is so scary. So hopefully these 5 steps will help you in order to practice and in order to improve your public speaking skills, so that way it seems a little bit less daunting, and who knows, you may even enjoy it as well. In any event, let me know in the comments below, do you enjoy speaking in public? Do you enjoy speaking in front of a crowd? If so, please tell me what about it invigorates you so much. If you are nervous in front of crowds, please tell me, why is it that you feel that nervousness to speak in front of crowds? Is it because you don't feel that you have anything worth saying? Let me dispel that. Everybody has something worth saying. In any event, if these helped, let me know in the comments below, and as always, thank you so much for watching.